Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about a movie I watched on Netflix last night. It's called The Wild Hunt. It's based off the myth of the same name, and it takes place in a LARPing community. Now, first thing I should say is that this movie is not a LARPing movie. It really is about this kind of interesting, complex, almost Nordic horror movie kind of storyline. The LARPing is basically just the setting of the storyline. So if you're looking for a movie focusing on LARPing, this isn't it. First off, because of that. Secondly, because this totally misrepresents LARPing. Like most movies dealing with LARPing, this is not how LARPing people interact. This isn't how they play the game, or for the most part. But this is just it's totally inaccurate when it comes to LARPing. So if you're looking for a movie to explain what LARPing is, this isn't it. Sorry. But if you're looking for a movie that is interesting, complex, and very entertaining, this might be your movie. It's made kind of on the cheap, or at least it kind of seemed that way. And it is a very interesting story. The basic plot line is that this man and woman are living with their father, and the woman ends up getting basically upset and decides to go to this LARPing community for a weekend. And the male character, the male lead, basically gets worried about her. Because he thinks that she's going to sleep around. He doesn't like LARPing. He's kind of just an outsider when it comes to the overall concept. So he goes there to find her. And shit does not go well. It's basically the story of them trying to be reunited and getting the hell out of this LARPing community. Is kind of how a way of thinking this storyline. Now, things go awry, needless to say. Things do not work out. If you're looking for a happy ending, this isn't it for it. I'm just going to tell you that right now. It ends considerably differently than I would have thought. The characters are interesting, but they don't really develop. Especially the main character and his interactions with his brother and stuff are interesting. But some of the explanations for actions are not fully developed. Also, I think that all the secondary characters did a very good job of being the stereotypical kind of nerdy aspects of LARPing communities. Even though that's completely inaccurate, I think that it feeds into the stereotype. But it works for the movie, is I guess what I'm saying. One of the most, in my opinion, one of the best parts about the movie is that they use this LARPing community to add an otherworldly feel to the overall film, which kind of connects it back to the original myth. Also, it adds an aspect of a classic, kind of like a medieval horror movie at times. In a way, it's able to bring a reality to horrible events that could be taking place at multiple different periods of time. And I guess that's what I'm trying to communicate, is that the ability to bring a modern component to a horror movie that could be taking place in like the, 1000s is something that's incredibly interesting, and I think definitely something worth watching. I'd say also it's interesting how how that world that they create, this LARPing community collapses and just tears apart. In many ways, it's almost like another Nordic myth, which is Ragnarok in a sense, and they use a bunch of references to it also throughout the movie. And I think that adds to this almost essence of Destiny, kind of an end of the world scenario. There's a couple things that they use to get that across, like the Destiny aspect, like a slamming door. There's a couple other aspects of it. I don't want to ruin it too much, but it definitely adds to the overall film. There's a couple plot holes in the movie. I won't go into them here, but I think you can get around it with the overall story. The story is what's interesting about this movie. What else should I mention? My favorite scene by far is the very last scene. And if you've ever seen the movie, it's just, it's good. I don't want to give too much away, so I'm not going to go into what actually happens. I think one of the things that's interesting about the movie is that if this was made in America, the aspects of the romantic, the love story, I think would have taken a totally different turn. The fact that they ended up ending it the way they did is almost, it would not, how do I put it? It would not take place in America, like at all. I mean, unless they were doing some ancient movie, like a Romeo and Juliet or, Othello or something of that nature. Unless you're doing some heavy, Shakespeare kind of movie, this kind of ending concept, this kind of love story slash, I won't even give that away. This love story would not have this kind of ending, even in a horror movie, because a horror movie wants to focus on the violence. This one doesn't. This one wants to focus on, the storyline. It focuses on moving the plot along more than that, and the individual relationships slightly. What else should I mention? I think that it's interesting also that the characters are, the different clans that the characters are broken into, add to the differences in personality that are perceived when it comes to LARPing, if that makes sense. In other words, each of these groups of, these subgroups like the elves, the Celts, the Vikings, are subdivisions of what people perceive LARPers to be. I don't want to get too much into that, but the Vikings are kind of the people that are really into it. The Celts are kind of just people that are into the bloodlust. The elves are just basically sexy elves or women that want to dress up sexy. They break down into these stereotypes, and I think that it's bad for the overall community, but I think that it helped the movie achieve a wider audience. So yeah, if I was going to recommend this movie, I would not recommend this to somebody who wants to watch a comedy. Though this movie does have, I laughed quite a bit in this movie, especially during the beginning half, and then the second half was just intense. And if you're looking for a movie like that, check it out. It's on Netflix, by the way, if I did not mention that already. You can also buy it, of course, support the industry. But if you don't want to, I'm pretty sure you can find pieces of it on the internet. You can't find it on YouTube, though. At least not so far. Wait a couple months, you'll find it there. The Film Institute, by the way, I think this is their first film, if I understand it right. I mean, that was Wikipediaing it, basically. So I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate. But yeah, it's definitely a brave attempt if this is their first film. And I think it is definitely has an independent feel to the overall movie. There's no real big special effects. So yeah, I guess I'm kind of rambling now just about generalities of the movie. You should check it out if you want to see a movie like it. If you don't. That's basically it. If I was going to rank it overall, I would give it a 3.5. It's above average. But because it's stereotypical about LARPing, I know too many LARPers to give it a, 4. So that's basically it. Have a great day. Oh, subscribe, comment, rate. Yeah, that's it. Have a great day. Bye.